The Big 12 fan is getting screwed because of the parity in this league. The Big 12 fan is getting railroaded by the television networks. If you didn't see this on Monday of this week, it was announced the week 5 kickoff times. You know, every Monday we get this information from the league, which comes by way of ESPN and Fox. Well, here's the problem for the Big 12. There's only one game for week 5, which is Saturday, September 28th, where we know the kickoff time. One game. We've got one game. We know the kickoff time for week 5. It's Arizona and Utah, 9:15 Central Time kickoff next Saturday. Every other game on the schedule, the other 6 Big 12 games, are part of the 6-day selection window. What does that mean? What that means is that all these other games are going to be decided Saturday night, early Sunday morning as to when they will kick off. That's right. You're hearing that correctly. It's ridiculous. I get in mid-November when they're like, hey, we're going to wait for the 6-day selection window. We're not sure who's going to beat who. We don't know which game is going to be best. We don't know which game we want to put in prime time. So we're going to wait to see how the game plays out. And then we'll decide on Saturday night, Sunday morning, when the next week's game kicks off. I get it in November. But the fact that the TV networks are doing this to the Big 12 fan in September is ludicrous. Now, you'll sit there, or some will sit there and say, hey, this is the price you pay. These teams are getting tens of millions of dollars from these networks. You got to play ball. Well, the NFL plays ball, but to a degree. You know, you can't flex NFL games until week 12, which means the schedule is set through week 11. The days, the kickoff times, nothing changes. So you can actually have a life, you know? You can actually plan your life more than 6 days in advance because you don't know when your favorite team is going to be playing football on a given Saturday. That is ridiculous. And the fact that we're sitting here having to talk about 6-day selection windows for September 28th games is insane. And we're doing it for 6 out of 7 Big 12 games. What a slap in the face that is to the fan. And here's the problem. It's not like this is a one-off. The Big 12 is going to be like this all season long because of the parity in this league and the fact that you don't really know week to week what the best game is going to be because you can't predict this conference on a week-to-week basis. But this is where the teams don't have the stones to do it because they're just desperate for the money. They're not going to stand up to ESPN or Fox. But I do think that the conference can play a role here. And Brett Yormark, who clearly has a great relationship with these TV networks, he cut the line for the Pac-12 deal. He knows for the Big 12 deal, he cut the line beating the Pac-12 to a television deal for the Big 12. He knows what he's doing. He's got a great rapport with these guys. He has got to get in their ear at some point and say, in the best interest of our fans, I know you guys don't know what's the best game yet, what's not the best game, but in the interest of our fans, you can't be putting 6 or 7 games in the 6-day selection window in late September. That is completely ludicrous. And it's entirely unfair to our fans who support this game and support these teams. And by the way, without these fans, no one's making any money. Let's be very clear. Without you, there is no $30 million a year deal for Baylor and Houston and TCU and Oklahoma State and Kansas State and everybody in the conference top to bottom. That money's not there without the fan. So I get it. We're running a business at ESPN and Fox. And we want to put the best teams in the best spots, and we just don't know who the best Big 12 team is. There's no blue blood in the Big 12, so we're kind of going week to week. So we're going to kind of piecemeal this together week by week throughout the 2024 college football season. No. Now, I'm not sitting here hoping and thinking there's going to be some magic wand someone's going to wave to change this, but I do think the conversation needs to begin now because the sooner it starts, the sooner it might have a chance to end. If not, we are going to be playing this game all season. Every single week, there's going to be a majority of games in the 6-day selection window. And you're not going to know until 6 to 7 days before the game when your team's playing the following week, which is like you just can't live. You just can't have a life. I mean, if you've got any life outside of college football, and I don't have much of one, but I got enough of one, like barely enough of one, where even I think this is ridiculous. With 3 little kids running around the house, my big thing is who's crawling on my face and which game is that happening during. So, like, I'll be all right, and I know many of you will as well. But for those of you who are in that part of life where you're tailgating, you're going to games, you're trying to visit friends, family, get back for a weekend, see your alma mater, this is unsustainable. You're trying to book flights for trips. This is unsustainable. And if the NFL can get itself in a situation where they say, hey, NBC, Fox, CBS, no flexing till week 12. College football should be able to do that. But part of the problem here is there's no commissioner. There's no one who's standing up on behalf of all the conferences and all the teams and saying, guys, you've got some leverage here. I know you all think that you're just pawns in the game of ESPN and Fox, and you organically and naturally have no backbone, but you've got some leverage here. Look out for your fans. And a fair compromise would be, you know what? No flexing of games, no 6-day selection window nonsense until November. Set the schedule. I would set the schedule for the entire year, just like the NFL does. And then in November, if you want to possibly flex a game, move it around, move it into prime time, have that conversation, do it in November down the home stretch of the regular season. But September and October should be hands off. Set the schedule, let the chips fall where they may, and move on. That's what the conferences need to start pushing back on. That's what they've got to do. William Jasper writes here, your Mark also needs to tell Fox to actually send announcers to the stadiums as well. The FS1 game has a remote broadcast, and it's garbage. I did notice that. I think it was on the Arizona State game a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. That is pretty cheap, not going to lie. But COVID kind of normalized that to some degree. You just don't get the same feel, though, as when, of course, the guys are actually, at the game that they're calling. There's something to be said for that. I'm Pete Mundo. We are Heartland College Sports. Thanks you for being here and joining us as a part of the show. As always, we appreciate you. Make sure you hit that thumbs up below the video and subscribe to us on the podcast as well. Have a great rest of the day. We've got a ton more content coming your way. Subscribe to our forums if you haven't done that yet, and we'll talk to you soon. Go Big 12.